Do you really want a world without plastic? Do you know how much more difficult your daily life will become? Just think of every plastic you rely on, such as water bottles, food packaging, shampoo bottles, and so many more. Unless you want to be spending more and going through a hassle, you want PET in your life. Let me give you a little breakdown on how PET is made. PET is a polyester polymer made by reacting ethylene glycol and terephthalic acid. Pellets of this polymer can be heated to a molten mass, giving the ability to mold this into any shape. PET is a condensation polymer, which means once the molecules form, a water molecule is taken out. The monomer of PET is ethylene terephthalate. If we look at the structure of PET, we see no hydrogen bonding, which is a sign of a nonpolar polymer. The benzene within the molecule carries some polarity, but not a significant amount. So, PET is ultimately nonpolar. There is also no halogens and cross-linking in PET. This polymer is made from crude oil and natural gases. Now let me tell you why PET is so effective and why we rely on it so much. It does not react with water or food, so it can be used as packaging. It is very strong for its light weight. It will not break or fracture. It is very available and inexpensive. It is easily recycled. It can be reused by conducting a series of washing processes or broken down into its constituent raw materials, which can then be turned into original resin. Another good thing about PET is it's not toxic. PET, an inert material that is widely accepted by health authorities as a safe plastic, which is one of the reasons why it is so commonly used in food and beverage packaging. Similar to glass, it is hygienic and generally resistant to attack by bacteria and other microorganisms. Special variants of take-home plastic containers made of PET are also available and commonly used for microwavable food, and it is cleared by the FDA for both single and repeated use. PET is also not toxic in ecosystems, but having plastic sit around in ecosystems is not the best for wildlife. As we know, this plastic is not biodegradable, so having it sit around in ecosystems leaves animals susceptible to eating it, which is not healthy, and it is also not good to have plastic sitting around in wildlife. The monomers of PET are biodegradable before the process of making a polymer. Once the polymer is formed, it is hard to get the material to become biodegradable like it once was. So, everyone should be putting these plastics in the recycling instead of throwing it in our environment and making a mess. Having close proximity of oil would be beneficial when it comes to making PET in my factory. Since PET is made up from crude oil and natural gases, having close resources will save time when it comes to forming this polymer. Having close by oil will benefit Villi Novi because the plastic creation rate will increase, which means more sales and more money. Since all the plastic gets shipped away, there will also be no remains of the plastic, leaving Villi Novi clean and richer. After many years, PET can break down into small microplastics. PET can never decompose, but this is good and bad. Not being able to decompose leaves plastics left over in our environment, but if we treated this situation correctly, having a material that can't decompose could be great. If we reused the same PET materials that have been produced, we would eliminate the constant making of new plastics, which is overflowing our environment. Since this material never goes away, we have a cheap, easily accessible material that makes everyone's life easier. We just need to do a better job managing it. As you can see in these pictures, our land is overflowed with plastic. We should be recycling to get all of these PET products in one place. If we do this, once we figure out a cheaper solution for thermal recycling, we can recycle all the plastic because it is in one spot, making our earth cleaner. PET is highly recyclable. Any PET that is unsuitable for recycling because it is too dirty or too contaminated to be properly cleaned can be safely and efficiently burned as an energy source. This is called thermal recycling. PET can be recovered and recycled again by thoroughly washing and remelting it for use in new PET products, or by chemically breaking down the PET into its constituent raw materials, which are then purified and converted into new PET. The symbol for PET is 1, meaning it is very easy to recycle. PET is practical because it is very cheap, accessible, reliable, and recyclable. PET is very economically feasible because it costs very little to create and it's strong while also lasting very long. PET is very beneficial short term, creating a quick fix to have something so cheap and reliable being able to hold so many different products. Since it is so expensive to thermal recycle these plastics, the old ones are discarded and new ones are made. This creates a long-term issue of having plastics sitting around, but all of this can be resolved if we start thermal recycling. Using the method of thermal recycling is a solution to recycle PET, but it is not very effective because it is pretty costly. I believe that we need to keep PET in our life because it is so important and valuable to us. I hope you have all realized the benefits of PET and how dependent we are on it. I hope everyone recycles more and we as a community think about thermal recycling and how to use it more effectively.